This is why it would be so nice to have like a sectional out here.
Yeah, we do need a sectional on our patio. What do you feel like are some green flags that you noticed at the beginning of our relationship? I'll say beginning, like how early were we talking? Beginning, like
at the beginning,
like to the point where we knew like this is worth investing in.
No, when I was deciding. You know what I mean? Like at the very beginning, when we first start talking about who we are and what we want, and we're just like getting to know each other. Green flags then.
Oh, dang!
I'm talking very beginning.
So
like why did we keep talking?
We met on Tinder, and once
the first green flag is when I texted you, and I was like literally 3 messages in to us talking, and I was like, what are the chances you want to talk on the phone right now?
Yeah. Because going back and forth on Tinder.
And I don't even think you responded. I think you just called me.
Yeah, immediately. No, I think did we talk on the phone at the time?
Huh?
I don't think we talked on the phone until you started like working.
I think I was at work when I sent that to you.
Did you? I feel like it was later in the night. I feel like you might have been off work.
I don't know. I wish I had kept that screenshot open.
Right.
I just found that the other day. That was probably my first green flag. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm not like annoying him that I would ask that. You know?
No, I want to talk to you. I want to hear your voice. Like
You had to make sure I wasn't a catfish too.
Between that, because you're too fine. There's no way. So we used to talk on the phone for hours. We used to text for hours. I feel like green flag was like, as you stated, when we were starting off like information, I was like, hey, I'm a single dad of 2. And you're like, I'm a single mom. And I was like, it was more so explaining my situation and seeing how, if that's something that you even want to potentially be a part of. Like, even though this is like in the first month time frame, to see if you even wanted to remotely introduce yourself to a guy who has this lifestyle and be able to say yes or no. And it took for me to be like, okay, here's my situation, here's where I am mentally, here's where I am emotionally, here's where I am financially, like literally laying everything on the table. And I think this is the part where people like, oh, I want to see what you bring to the table. Like, this is essentially everything that I had, and it was up to you to be like, yeah or no. And once you were like, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, well, we're already making it somewhere, because like, I know that my lifestyle when I was a single dad of 2 was not even remotely something somebody would want to consider, having to deal with a baby mama or having to deal with a co-parent situation. Not to say that the situation itself is bad, it's just that it takes a lot of intentional work
and maneuvering
and like understanding, like, I'm doing this because I have to, like, I'm co-parenting because I have to, because this is the situation, not because I'm like, oh, I continuously want to see my ex and I continuously want to be around her and talk to her. Like, we're 2 adults who created a life and brought responsibility into the world, and now we're taking care of that responsibility, and this is just what it looks like as co-parents. And you saying that you had a child when we first met, it was like, okay, she's understanding and going through the same thing I'm going through as far as learning how to co-parent and what this looks like, and then also trying to find a relationship and find somebody who wants to put in this time in a relationship and do the intentional work to maintain this relationship, and then wanting to show up as a step parent and wanting to be present for me, and understanding that the time we spend is going to look different because we got kids, and then we got us, and then we got work, and we got all these dynamics that are hard, and it's going to take, and I know I keep saying it's going to take work, but like, it's going to take work. And for you to be like, yeah.
I think I just felt like at that point, like, no matter who you are with and no matter what their circumstances are, wherever you end up, it's gonna take work. Because it's work to, like, be healthy and to function outside of everything that you've been through. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of what healing and wholeness looks like for you, it's gonna take work to get there. You know? And so when we were talking about, like, these dynamics, and how much work it was going to be, I was like, I think it's going to be work no matter what. And
it's going to be worth it.
Right. I'm pretty sure it's going to be worth it.
Right.
And also, he's so fun.
Oh my God. That's how I felt about you. Like, I'll make it work. We gonna make it work regardless, because
I don't know what we gotta do, but
we're gonna make 2 and 2. I don't know what I gotta do, but I'm gonna make it 2 and 2. Cause no, then we used to talk for hours about everything, and it wasn't even like, so how's your day going? Good. How's your day going? Good. It was more so like, how's your day going? How's work going so far?
Mm-hmm.
How's the drive? Have you eaten? What are your plans for the week? Like in-depth conversations where it's like, I feel like somebody is genuinely interested in me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like somebody genuinely wants to hear what I have to say. Somebody genuinely cares about my next move. Somebody genuinely cares to give their input on how I can do things differently or how I can do things better.
I think that was definitely a green flag for me too, that it felt like when I was like, not only did you want to understand me and want to like engage with me, but like you also did.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like, maybe that sounds stupid, but it was like not only does he say he likes me, he actually likes me, and he also like acts like he likes me. To have all of those things line up, I was like,
You'd assume that'd be the bare minimum.
Huh?
So you'd assume that'd be a bare minimum.
You would think.
For somebody to say what they mean and mean what they say and actually act upon what they said.
And it's not even like I was just crazy and like expecting that. Like that was the legitimate experience I had before. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where it was like they would say one thing and then act another way, or act like this but then say some other shit, and I never knew actually how they felt. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I feel like a big green flag for me was that what you said always lined up with where you were, and I was like even if things are hard, like I can trust him, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if you have that, like, I think almost anything can be worked through.
I agree, and not only that, it's like you had to feel the way that you felt, and I had to feel the way that I felt to introduce this other dynamic of, hey, we also got children, and I have to not only be able to trust you around me, but like around this extension of me, like my children, which is essentially going to be our children, because we're going to be married and everything.
In a way, this thing that is more important to me than I am.
Right.
Like I'm going to be more defensive that you're going to treat my child well. Like that's going to be a higher priority to me than how you treat me. And I don't know if it should work like that.
Right.
But, like, depending on how you feel about yourself, like, you can be okay with someone treating you one way, but, like, if you ever were to raise your voice at my kid, we're going to have a problem.
Right. Like, yeah.
Like, you raise your voice at me, I'm going to think about it. You raise your voice at my child, and we're going to have words. You know what I mean? And, like, I'm super grateful that we got us together before we introduced.
I agree.
To any children. And I love that at the beginning of that, we like really had a lot of conversations about like what is going to be what's going to be best for our kids. Mm-hmm. And like when we would talk about that, I love that we didn't put a time limit on it. Like I knew that I wanted to wait at least several months, probably a year. You know what I mean? But I also love that.
Some water. I'm going to interrupt you.
No, I'm okay. Thank you. But I also love that we just let it. It worked out. You know what I mean? And it worked out so well that I don't even remember, like, the first time we met each other's kids, it felt like a natural...
Right.
You know what I mean? A natural progression. Like, it wasn't even something... We just needed our foundation together first.
I agree. I agree. And the intentional work, and then, like, with us communicating and talking so much about, like, what is this life gonna look like with us and our children, and like I think it felt so natural because we both knew what to expect, because we both continued to clarify, okay, here's our current situation today, here's where I plan on being, here's where I plan on going, and it's like constant conversations about like past, present, and future, all at the same time, and then also simultaneously.
Because it was like we were constantly working through the things that were triggering what we had been through.
A lot of trauma work.
So like as hard things are happening in our lives and we're learning how to navigate that together, we're also bringing to the table how we're feeling about the situation and then working through why we feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was almost like every time we got triggered by something, like, we literally worked through it together.
Yeah, instead of like reacting like, oh, I'm upset, I'm triggered, this just pissing me off, it's more so like, hey, honey, like, I'm very upset right now. This is a situation, I don't know how to deal with it.
Right.
And it took for me to be safe, to feel safe asking for help. And it wasn't that, because I've been in narcissistic relationships, and you know how that is as far as like, it's abuse. When you speak your mind, when you say what you want to say, when you speak from a place of hurt and need and helplessness, or I don't know if helplessness is the word we're looking for, but when you need help from your partner and they look at you and say, fuck you, I'm not helping you, or like they mentally, emotionally abuse you, and you go through that with so many partners, you don't want to open up no more until you have a partner that literally holds you and says, hey, it's okay, open up.
So how do you think that you knew that what was the...
Your consistency. And from the beginning of our relationship until now, anytime I had a question that genuinely needed explaining, you never said, that's a dumb question, or I'm not taking the time to do that. You were like, okay, let's sit down and talk about it. I'll make time, right? I will clear my whole entire schedule for the rest of the day and make time for you. There are times that you pulled up when I needed you, and I didn't know I needed you until you showed up, because I wasn't feeling well, or I was dealing with like a really bad depressive episode, and you're like, hey, I'm coming over. And before I could say no, you were already in progress on the doorstep saying, hey, I'm here, come here, it's okay. Like, you just showing up in those ways meant so much to me, because it wasn't, especially when we met, I was at one of the lowest points of my life when we met. I was dealing with a lot. And for you to know exactly what I was dealing with, it'd be like, yeah, I'm rocking with you through all of it, and genuinely rock with me through all of it, and like love me and care for me and see me for me. And it wasn't just the things that you did for me, it's just who you are and who you were, because you're a different person than you are now, not in a bad way, but like,
We've grown a lot.
Right, this is a different version of you, but who you are now and who you were back then was everything that I wanted and that I needed, and that I didn't expect or knew existed until we found each other. And I always felt safe with you. I felt like I could be myself. I felt like I could let my guard down. I felt like I could take off this coat of armor that I have. I felt like it was okay to not be okay. Like, you made me...
You're safe.
And it's hard because a lot of the older men in my life, I've seen older men in my life have a woman who was willing to do the things similar to what you did for me. They just weren't willing to allow that love in, because they felt like they needed to have an even thicker coat of armor that was impenetrable, because they weren't deserving of the love, or they don't need the love because they're a man, or this is the type of love they shouldn't be looking for because society tells them that. But as a man, letting that love in, and the love is genuine, and the love is so pure, and the love is just so phenomenal, like, it changes, I feel like, who it changed who I was as a man. Like, I couldn't be me without you. And I genuinely feel that. And I feel that way every single day. Like, I am amazed by you. And we've been together for 4 years, and you never let me down once. I can't name one time where you're just like, I can't do that, or I won't do that. Like, and I feel like I've asked from you some hard things at times, and you looked at that, I was like, what else you need me to do?
I think because your intentions have always been to do what is best. Like, I felt like every situation we've ever been in, and everything that's ever been asked of either of us, the top priority has been, like, us. Both of us.
Yeah.
It's never been, like, none of it was self-serving. None of it was, like, gonna be what's best for you, and, like, so whatever happens, like,
right.
whatever, you know? And I feel like that made it so that I feel like you made it so that I was able to trust someone enough to provide like an unwavering support. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, because you were who you were and because you created this space where I could be, it made it so that I didn't have to like second guess the like natural behaviors of like wanting to care for someone and wanting to support someone and wanting to just like adore someone, which is natural. Like we want that. Like, that's normal for us to want that. And like in our toxic dating culture that we have now, that's looked at as needy, and you're a simp, and you're codependent, and you're like, and sometimes like those are real things, and like
as humans,
you need to be careful.
Right. I mean, with any good thing, you want more of it, or as much as you can get of it.
But like, there's also there's so much health in like having a healthy dependency on each other.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's.
I mean, you're. My thing is, you just added another person to your life, so of course it's gonna feel like now everything's double the work.
Right.
And we can go materialistic as far as like laundry and dishes and bills, but we can go also like emotional, dealing with trauma and like emotions and feelings, because you not only have to be considerate of yours, but also your partner's and your partner's feelings and your partner's emotion. And it's going to require more work than you're used to as an individual, because you just added another dynamic to the relationship. So of course it's going to require more work, but it's going to feel like even more work when you don't have a partner who is.
It's also double the reward.
Yeah, when you don't have a partner who shows up, it's even harder to the point where, of course, you want to give up. But like when you have a partner who's working, as you stated, it is double the reward every single day to work through the hard things.
Which are like
not even hard. Cause like
some of them are hard.
Like, I will say it's
mostly they're not as all-encompassing as they feel like they are when you don't have something to fall back on.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, having this like this foundation that we have makes it so that everything else is like we're able to like weather the storm, and we're just as good as we were before it happened.
I think I think the word that just was getting me. It's like when I think hard, I think from like 0 to 100. When I think difficult, I'm thinking from like we're going from level 1 to level 2, from level 2 to level 3, and like it's a little difficult to get through that, but we have the tools to get to the next level, and we always do. But I think that other relationships are literally 0 to 100 because you're either about to get 0 effort or you're about to get 100% effort, and that's what makes it so hard in a lot of cases. I feel, but I definitely feel like it's worth the reward. Yeah. I think the green flags at the beginning of a relationship are very important. Like, I know we're different, and I know that we don't personally feel like texting. You can't. There's of course, realistically, there's a way to text too much throughout the day, because realistically, we don't got that much time to text. But
especially
like,
if you're working.
Right,
yeah.
But like even just receive a few text messages out the day. Hey, thinking about you. Hey, miss you. Hey,
we still do.
Can you grab lunch? And I know at the beginning of our relationship, we used to text. Heck, we used to be on the phone 5 hours total a day, somehow, some way, or FaceTime while we're driving, or
if we were in the car, we were on the phone.
Yeah, or texting, or whatever the case is, but that worked for us. But I also don't feel like you should be going a whole day without texting somebody you're supposedly interested in, or going a whole 2 days, or saying, "Oh, I'm not really a texter." I
don't think you should go the whole day without hearing the other person's voice.
I agree. That's wild to me.
You know what I mean? Like,
especially if you got feelings and stuff, yeah.
Right? That you wouldn't at least we have cell phones. It's so easy. Almost no effort.
You don't even have to touch your phone now to call somebody.
And like at the base level of what it is to have any interest in someone at all.
You should want to
get to know
what I mean?
Like, right. if we're not even reaching out to the other person every day, they don't like you. They don't want you.
What I feel like is happening now in dating culture is people get a questionnaire. Everybody gets they get a paper with 25 questions on it. And once you've asked the person you're interested in all these questions, it's like, well, we ran out of things to talk about. So, yeah. So since we don't have any like interest with any 24-hour questions, I guess we just don't click. So we should probably go separate ways because I'm
Do
not
you know, I
interested.
once went on a date with someone where we sat across from each other at dinner and did not speak the entire night.
I've had one of those before.
The entire night, did not say a single word.
Yeah, that's wild to me. My name Jed. Oh man,
Isn't that crazy?
that is insane.
Like, we're talking like absolute. The bar is in the basement,
Cause
babe.
you fine. I wouldn't shut the fuck up. But how fine you are, cause girl, I don't shit.
Yeah.
You bad,
Yeah, bad.
Michael Jackson, bad.
That was the other. We were so infatuated with each other.
Still to this day,
Yeah, still to this day.
I'm obsessed with you. I love you. I adore you. I appreciate you.
I love
all
you.
the things.
You're my favorite.
You're my fave. Do you feel like we covered enough green flags?
And I'm hungry. Feed me.
It's very much time to eat them.